All right, so I want to talk about the current market and what I'm planning on doing in the current conditions. So first off the bat, Palantir, I do think it's looking at a really good price right now, and I think, with geopolitical tensions in the world and potential tensions rising even further, USA versus Iran, I think that's in the playbook, to be honest. So I think if you were to invest in Palantir, I think it probably is gonna do fairly well. I can see it getting to like $300 in the near future, like 3 years, something like that. But I struggle with investing in Ballantyre purely because I'm a Christian, essentially, and it profits off war, and I struggle to justify this, especially when I communicate or have deep thoughts with higher self, God, whatever you want to call it. Something on a gut level, on a deep level, telling me it'll affect your mental, your soul, your mental kind of health if you're wanting a war to happen. So I've kind of avoided even considering that as a possibility, even though right now I'm just calling it and saying, it's $74 a share right now. It's a buy and a half if you were just wanting to make profit. So it was tempting, but I just can't get myself to do it. Tesla, though, I actually do think isn't a bad shout. Everyone is saying how it's the valuation of it, like the multiplier that it's using, is way too high, is way overvaluated, etc., etc. I get it, but I do think Tesla's going to be $1 trillion valuation company. Okay, so what have you got? Right, just look at it. The current marketplace is saying it's a political. There's the politics behind Elon Musk is what's massively dumping the stock price right now. That's essentially it, along with the Trump tariffs, which are fucking it's causing some hell in the marketplace right now. And obviously Tesla's going to get massively affected because it's essentially a double whammy for opposition countries. They know Elon's close to Trump. They're going to want to target Trump where it hurts. The tariffs themselves are going to affect Musk's company just from imports of like materials needed to build the cars and stuff like that. So, but do I see this being a long-term thing? No, I don't see this being a long-term thing at all. I see this being short-term massive volatility because Trump is trying to he's not going to back down, by the way, but I don't think he'll end up coming out worse. I think other countries will, to the pain of maybe US citizens in the short term, but I don't think this will last. And here's how I'm justifying it. This is my argument: is the news is so bad right now. It's like worse than worst case scenario. Any type of news from this point onwards is going to seem like good news, and that is going to pump the markets, because it'd be like, oh my god, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, or oh my god, he might be changing the tariffs, meaning everyone's going to start racing back in, or oh my god, we've got to some sort of resolution, because there's going to be some resolution at some point, whether it's now or whether it's in 59,000 years. I don't have that crystal ball, but my gut feeling is saying, it's going to be a couple of weeks, like 4 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks from now. I feel like something's gonna. So what's the date today? It's like the 4th of April or something like that, 5th of April. I feel like it's by the end of April. That'll be either the best time to buy or where there's going to be some sort of news that makes it seem not as bad as it is, and then the market's going to come rushing back up again. I think, okay, don't start, this is just my gut feeling of where my head's at the minute. And when it comes to Tesla, look, they've got Tesla bot, they've got Tesla chargers, auto driving cars like auto taxis. The Model Y, the new Model Y has been sold out. Okay, it's sold out. The new design on the Model Y. The Model Y is the best selling car in the world. Everyone's saying, oh, like the Chinese fucking electric cars are coming into the marketplace and taking up the market share. I'm like, yeah, sure, but there's a thing called Metcalfe's law. Like, when you think of electric vehicles, what do you think of? You don't think of Seals, do you? You think of Tesla. You don't think of the Renault Megane electric, do you? You think of Tesla. So I think it's going to continue to grow. I think, ironically, because of how divided the US is, I think there'll be a lot of supporters of Musk that are gonna buy Teslas because they're supporters, rather than people not buying it because they don't like him, if that makes any sense. People are going to buy Tesla regardless, but there might be more buyers now just from avid supporters. But you know, I think where the money's going to be at is with Tesla bot and AI and the self-driving cars. So obviously I'm thinking, like, this isn't a short-term play, this is long-term play. I just think now might be a good time to, good entry point at 244 a share, I think it is right now. And alongside that, I think the S&P. The S&P, if you look at the RSI, it's on the weekly, it's massively, like, the only times it's been this oversold on the RSI is like COVID and like 2022, and I can't really remember what exactly happened there, but it's probably COVID related again. So, you know, the last time it was this oversold was due to COVID, and obviously they were amazing buys. It's literally tripled. It was about 2,000 during COVID, the S&P, and it peaked out about 6,100, and it's now 5,000. So it's like 20%, whatever that percentage is off. It's like, yeah, 18% off. Because that's the baby long term, because that gets you know, your dividend kind of compound interest dividends. I think that's the baby long term. The long term goal for me is obviously Bitcoin and S&P, I think. So all these other things like Solana and Tesla will be ultimately to gain wealth at a faster pace in S&P, to then move into the S&P, to then get the dividends from that. But what do I think about the current crypto marketplace? Because Solana is still on my mind. Like, if I had the bollocks, I would go 100% all in Solana, but I don't. Clearly I don't, and I don't deserve it, because I did that already, and the volatility gets to me too much nowadays. Like, it never used to get to me, but when you got a decent amount of money and you see that volatility, it's much harder to deal with when you've only got a little bit in crypto. You know, when you've only got like 10 grand in, and then you see it go down 20%, it's like, well, if I do the math, like in a couple of months I'd be able to just reinvest that anyway, so it's fine. But if it starts getting higher and it goes down 20%, it's like, oh shit. When it goes down 60%, like I've been absolutely wrecked in the marketplace over the last year. And one thing that I'm not going to do is I'm not going to make it back just sat on the sidelines, am I? I'm going to, like, I've been a bit worried of getting back in, but I feel like I'm getting to the point now where, like, the opportunity is really speaking, and it's like, okay, it's time to get back in. Long term, see it out. Monthly dividend and monthly dollar cost averaging. Every wage, I put 20% into stocks or crypto. What do I think is going to happen in the very short term? Okay. Well, I think everyone right now is like, oh, Bitcoin is decoupling from the S&P and all that kind of stuff. But if you look at the moving averages, it's just a pump into a death cross. It's going to take in my humble opinion, I think it's going to take people by surprise. And I don't want this to be, because I'm a long-term Bitcoin bull. I'm a bullish person on Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. I'm literally, my friends call me the perma bull. So my mate Gianni he's called the perma bear, because he was through a massive bearish period for like ages, where he's just wanting it to go down, and Bitcoin went from like 20 grand to 100 grand, whereas I was like, perma bear, obviously loving it, perma bull, sorry, loving it. So I find it really hard to be bearish, because I'm always worried that Bitcoin's just going to double overnight, because it can do that, and then if you're out of position, it's really tough. But I'm just looking at the chart, I'm thinking everything else is tanking. The S&P's down 17%. Bitcoin's barely moved yet. Is there just going to be a lag before people start really worrying and having to get out of that to there's recession fears in the US that are looming, because unemployment rate's gone to 4.2 again. There's the SARM rule, whereby usually when it gets above 4 it spikes, and that's essentially recession, bad recession. I don't think Powell's going to want to do Trump any favors. I don't think he's just going to switch to QE. I don't think he's going to just start cutting rates willy-nilly for no reason. I feel like, in a bit of a conspiracy theorist way, I think there's a lot of globalists that don't want Trump to succeed, alongside his like half suicidal policies right now. Well, I'll tell you what, if he pulls it off, he's going to look like an absolute genius. But if he doesn't, he's going to look like the biggest mug in history. So he's got fucking cojones, I'll tell you that. But I just can't see any of the like the Fed wanting to help him at all. I can see them wanting him to fail. So when it comes to QE, obviously if the stock market gets bad enough, they're going to have to bail the stocks out, because people are going to start going bust otherwise. We're talking maybe like a 2008 type of thing, some banks going under. Like you've already got a few problems with Silvergate Bank over the last few years. You've got who knows what's happening with that Japanese carry trade, by the way. Who knows? That was a scary moment last year in 2024. We just got a random, oh shit, we could be in worldwide problemo. We could have a real problem on our hands if this thing actually goes south, and it's still not fixed, and we've got turmoil in the marketplace. That could come back and just come back with vengeance and take out quite a few things, and that something like that will have to happen, in my opinion, for Powell to want to do anything to help Trump, or do anything to help QE chances rise, or rate cuts. But I don't think so. Somehow I think inflation back up. It's a tricky time. This is why I've been sat on the sidelines. If you go back, there's a video a few weeks ago that I did. It was like, there was already signs of dips then, and I was saying, look, I'm not going to get in right now, because literally, I know everyone's saying buy the dip, but the underlying problems haven't solved themselves. Like interest rates, even if you cut them, they're going to be, what are the interest rates now, 4.75 or 4.5 or something like that. Even if you cut them, you're still going to be in the 4% for interest rates, federal interest rates, 4% plus. That's historically, if you go back to the 70s, it's about average, but if you go back to like the noughties, it's fucking very high, and the economy's not used to it being that high, and there's problems with that. So even if you cut rate, you're going to have massive cuts to stimulate the market, and I can't see that happening unless there's a real problem. So everyone was saying a few weeks back, oh, just buy the dip. I don't think so. The underlying problem's still there. Interest rates are too high. Unemployment rate's still above 4%, which is risky if you look at the SARM rule. And I was saying, all it takes is one thing to go wrong right now, and we're going to see an absolute disaster. And that's exactly what we've seen. That one thing has happened. Trump wasn't bluffing with the tariffs, and he fucking signed them in, and he made them a lot higher than everyone was expecting. So yeah. So I think now is about the right time, because it's always after, apparently it's always after the catalyst event that causes the panic that you're close to the end of the worst of it, at least. And then another little tip is when they announce recession, that means you're probably about 70 to 80% of the way through it, and you'll be on your way out soon. So if you hear an announcement of recession, buy. That's not financial advice. I regret saying that. Do not do that. That's just me talking to myself. But if I was to be looking at, let's say, Powell, and he's saying, you know, we're in recession, I'd be buying at that point. And I think they're my thoughts for right now. But essentially, you got to invest with a clean conscience. That's why Ballantyre, for me, I can't invest in it, although I do think it's a good buy. Long term, these are all long term plays. I'm not on about like short term fluctuations. I'm on about where they're going to be valued in maybe 4 years time. And by the way, 4 years time is no time at all. It goes past really fast. And if you're monthly investing in these, 4 years time, if you're doing like as much as you can a month, you're going to start building up some serious wealth. If you don't have much right now, you can get some. Yeah, the slow and steady wins the race.